sababu haukuwa na vibango vile vilivyotakiwa. Vile vile ukasema kwamba hakuna yeyote aliyokupigia simu kuhusiana na kazi yako na uhusiano wako wa kikazi. Na labda uhusiano wako na Rais William Ruto umekuwa vipi hivi karibuni, na labda kabla ya kubanduliwa ofisini kwa aliyekuwa naibu rais, uhusiano wako na Rais William Ruto ni upi hadi kufikia sasa? Je, amesema na wewe muda wote ule? Umesema na aliyekuwa naibu rais popote kule? Uhusiano wako vile vile na aliyekuwa naibu rais ni upi hadi kufikia sasa?
Mheshimiwa, swali langu ni jina langu ni Ronnie kutoka idhaa ya Moredi.
Your name is
Ronnie.
Okay.
Swali langu kwako ni kuhusiana na utendakazi na mchakato kazi wako katika eneo bunge la Karu. Binafsi tulitembea huko na tukafanya taarifa kuhusiana na kuimarisha elimu, ndio maana tulipatia makala ya elimu bora na si bora elimu. Hivi sasa umengatuliwa na kuondolewa katika wadhifa ambao umekuwa unashikilia, na hizi tetesi ambazo zimekuwa zikisemekana na viongozi kwamba mgao wako ulielekezwa katika eneo bunge lako, kwa sasa hivi umeondolewa. Je, ujenzi wa shule utaendelea, madarasa yataendelea, kabla zitaendelea na wanafunzi wataendelea kula, au sasa bajeti vile vile itakuwa imefinywa, kuna uwezo zaidi?
Okay. Kidogo tu, the reason you see me I'm studying chache so that I don't also get lost. Let me answer the two very specifically. Mike, you asked about the relationship with our leaders. The position I held is a consultative position in terms of before a decision is made, there has to be a lot of consultations. But as I said before, because I also don't want to discuss personalities today, the position or the answer I gave before, I think it answers many things. That I have not had any conversation directly or on phone with any leader of our coalition in regards to the position I used to hold. And I think if you look at it, it answers many things also, which I also don't want to go into. In terms of the relationship with other leaders, I respect everyone. I mean, I'm one of those people who believe there's no person who becomes a leader by just being fetched from wherever. There is always a process they go through. Because I am one, I know. And therefore, in terms of, you've asked the relationship between the president and the former deputy president, the position I hold is that I respect every leader. And I could have things I need to talk about. I could have reservations on decisions made. But I don't think it has been within my role to talk about those things, especially in public. The other thing in that question is that maybe for clarity's sake, the last discussion I had with the president of the country, the last political discussion, either a chat or a discussion as it were, was before October of last year. And I would not want, and you permit me to do that, not to discuss any further about any leader, because as you're all aware, I stopped serving in my position. It's barely a week. I also need to understand many things before I talk, because I believe as a leader, I mean, I lead people. There are people who look up to us as leaders, and therefore even when you see that I am not answering some questions, it's not because I can't answer them. I believe you have covered me previously, and you know for sure that respectively in this world I only fear God. So whatever I need to say, I have no reservation of saying. But also, we are given wisdom to say when to say, how to say it. And I believe we are here in Kenya. We'll keep interacting. If there is more to be said, if there is more to be clarified, we are allowed. Ronnie, he has been to Karu, by the way, to cover achana na taoja hii ni maji ya dimu kidogo ndio. Yo mkiuliza swali kwa ikuwe sawa. Ronnie, you've been to Karu and I am grateful. And by the way, I want to request anyone who would want to come to Karu to look at what we've been doing. We are more than glad to host you. We don't do these things, especially of hosting people, because we want to blow our own trumpet. We do these things because I am convinced that if leaders started competing on the basis of what they are doing, the country would become better wholesomely. If our competition as leaders is deliverables, and we compete about who is doing what in terms of tangibles and development, is a very good discussion that you would have as MPs, for example, because we hold CDF, and that is the reason why we would be glad even to host you. We have hosted, I think, 4 delegations of my colleagues in Karu on benchmarking exercises. We actually don't call them benchmarking. We call them peer-to-peer learning, because I also learn from them. I am not a non-knowing, and I also learn from my colleagues a great deal. And in terms of, like the video you see around me wearing some goldish shirt, I'm sure you have seen it. That was on 4th of January last year. It is not a recent video. And we have been doing those things primarily because I think at some point I was not doing the right thing, and at some point I learned. And therefore I feel that if I share my experiences with anyone, and I also learn from them, the management of public resources becomes better. If Karu improves, any other Mvita improves, if Embakasi East improves, if any other constituency improves, then Kenya holistically becomes a better place. And I want to underline, the leaders who come to Karu, they don't come to learn because I am all-knowing and I know everything. I also learn from them. And that is why I also go to their constituencies to learn what they do. And I also know majority are trying their best. Specifically to answer you now, is that the projects you saw in Karu, majority of it that we have done in our learning institutions, I actually did in my first term. In my first term, I was a member of a committee called Regional Integration. I think I have answered you. So I'll still call you next year. I hope we'll still be doing better, hopefully. Yes.
Majibu Kisao from K24. Kuna swali mwenzangu alikuwa ameuliza kwa kifupi tu kuhusiana na wale wabunge ambao walikuwa wanakujeli kwa labda kujilipizia pesa kuwatumikia wakazi wa Karu. Labda utawaambia nini? Tena niuliza niliouliza, alafu waibie siri kwa sababu si mara moja si mara mbili umeteuliwa kama mbunge bora.
Okay. Yes, my brother.
Mheshimiwa, I know you are doing campaign during 2022 and you have given Kenya a lot of promise. For the now,
your name again?
Aden Ibrahim from KBC. For now, for the 2.5 years now we are there, where do you rate in terms of development across the country? Because you are sharing that that committee in that terms of development, and you know the promise that you have given Kenya. Where do you rate this administration in the last 2.5 years? Have they achieved their goal? Have they achieved their promise in the last 2 years?
Okay.
Where do you rate?
Okay. Let me answer those two. I'll now try to be brief. One, My brother, your name? Majibu. Maswali yani anauliza swali. Majibu, my brother from K24.
Yes.
You've asked about Karu. I am always available to share our experiences in Karu. More than available. I mean, I have had sessions with my colleagues and I have explained to them basically what we do is optimization, labor-based implementation of projects. It saves us the profit that would have been made by the contractor. It also saves us a lot of cost. It guarantees quality also. And because it's something that needs a lot of time to explain, I am sure I'll give you some time. And yes, ameuliza pia wale wabunge walisema mambo bugeni last week, nitasema nini? Nitasema, uniruhusu niseme kwa kimombo. As I said before, politics is up and downs. And politics is mutually exclusive. Because the things we chase for are the same. So sometimes, for a position to be created, one person has to forgo theirs. And therefore, it's always a chase. So, you also have to define yourself as a leader, the things you want to engage in. And respectively, as I say so, if I ask you as my brothers and sisters who are here, I ask you what Kibaki told anyone in the year 2008 when he was president, you would hardly remember. You'd have to go to your files to check what Kibaki said. But if you travel through or on Thika Road Superhighway, you don't need to remember anything Kibaki said. You see it with your own eyes. So me, I believe that, yes, we have to talk as leaders because you have to explain where you are going, where you've come from. I mean, you cannot lock yourself in a room. You have to talk. But in many instances, I find that what is far-reaching and what is permanent and what is objective is more what you do than what you say. And therefore, in terms of what was said and whoever said it last week in Parliament, I would not be provoked to answer evil with evil, neither will I be provoked to answer an insult with insult. Time answers many things. Time answers so many things. I mean, if I allege, for example, if I come here and allege Kajim here is actually not from Kenya, and I say, no, I have evidence, he's actually not from Kenya. Only time. He may not need to say much. The truth and the facts have a way of outliving words. And I hold no grudge against anyone. It is too burdensome to carry any hatred. It is too heavy to carry any ill will against anyone. I mean, you can only do that to the advantage of the people who calculate to make you wander from your path. Oh, sorry, Aden, and I think I'm taking too long to answer questions. Aden, allow me today. You've asked me to rate the government. You know, I've been chairman of budget. Definitely, I am likely to be subjective. In terms of rating of government, allow me not to answer that now because I just left this position barely a week from today. I am likely to be subjective. But I think as leaders from wherever we are, from MCA level to what I hold to every other level, there is always work to be done. And from my corner, hopefully I'll do my best to chip in into that development so that entirely the country becomes better. But I also know, Aden, that, like all of you, I am a Kenyan, I live here, so I see what there is. So, so Kenyans are better judges than ourselves as leaders. Yes.
The last one is, what's your take on the solution?
Your name is?
My name is Jeff from Live Nation.
Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff. still like Nation 254.
Okay.
What's your take on the agreement between the opposition, Raila Odinga, and the president? Will this agreement solve the issue of Gen Zs? Because the other time Gen Zs went to the streets and they wanted some support from the government. Will this help? Will this agreement help the Gen Zs?
Jeff, I think, but respectively though, usinibebe vibaya, those are the areas that I don't want to go today, because I don't want to distort the message for today. And since I'm around, Jeff, I'll give you audience. You know now I'm not as busy as I used to do or to be.
Maybe the last one on budget.
Yes.
Given the role you played in the last
You name?
I am back from Togo.
Okay.
Given the role you played in the last election, resulted in you being given that position. Now that you have been removed without even being informed by the leadership of Kenya, do you feel betrayed by the leadership?
Thank you very much, Aemba. Yours is hapo katikati because it's both political but budget based. So that one I have to say something about. Kaemba, I am a human being. So when you see us politicians, we are also people. And it is honest, I think that answer it suffices.
So maybe the last one now.
Yeah.
We've seen leaders when after the impeachment they consult. Raila Odinga was also moving around the country to consult after he failed in the AUC. Are we also going to see Ndidi Nyoro consulting also?
Stephen Leto, I have been busy as a politician, but I have also enjoyed a phase of quietness. I mean, you know that. When you are in the dance floor, politically speaking, you can't know even when it is raining outside, when the wind is blowing. You can't know when there is a storm. When you are in the dance floor, there is loud music and you are busy. This is an experience I've shared actually, Reto, with some of my colleagues. That sometimes as a leader, it is also important that you depart the dance floor temporarily, you go to the balcony, and also you learn. Learning may not mean you are consulting to outdo anyone. Learning may actually mean the dancing styles changed, but you are still fixed on the past ones. Learning may actually also not come by political conversations. It may come with just social interactions. So my is in tandem with the expectations of the people of Kenya. Any other question? So maybe nikimaliza, mimi niwashukuru sana, and I am available as I said before, especially in regards to Karu. Anyone who would want to come there, you are free. And in any other fora that may be important for me to clarify some of the issues, I'll be available. Only that today I've restricted myself into the agenda of the day so that we can have a clear messaging on it.
Can I request that you give us a brief?
Okay.